It's extremely easy to become fat and poor. Luxurious living in a first world country doesn't help us. Neither does having kids or getting older. This is America, after all, the land of endless entertainment and infinite calories. And it's slowly killing us, growing our bellies and shrinking our bank accounts in tandem. We've been given every opportunity and we have chosen destruction. And even though money and health aren't directly connected, there's actually one single solution to both of these problems, and I'll give you a hint. It's not discipline. For most of us, discipline hurts us more than it helps us. The problems we face with fatness and poorness aren't complex. They are simple, and their simplicity is what makes them so damn hard. Because we already know the way to get fit. We eat less junk food and choose healthier stuff to shove in our face. On top of that, we know we should exercise a few times a week or every day, probably. Boom, done, simple. Do those things and you'll be healthier. But simple is hard. The willpower required for these activities is tremendous. Whenever we choose to eat smaller amounts of food and to exercise and make our bodies sweat and ache, we're ruling out every other activity that brings us comfort and ease and relaxation and pleasure. We have to choose to opt into pain and difficulty and most of all, discipline. It's worse than a curse word. Discipline is the best thing that we all love to hate. But discipline is actually responsible for more fat gain and maxed out credit cards than any other trait. Discipline deserves the hatred. It fails us 99% of the time. We need something better than discipline to help us accomplish the simplest and most difficult things in life, like money and exercise. Whenever we rely on discipline, most of the time we've already recognized that we need to make a change. We know we're fat or poor or late or messy or whatever the problem is. And so we identify the outcome that we want to make happen, like losing weight or saving money or investing for retirement or showing up on time. And the next morning, we wake up, we grit our teeth, and we fix our gaze on that outcome. We're committed to forcing it into being. We are gonna make this happen today. And that is exactly what lights the fuse on our impending failure, because discipline doesn't work. Instead, we need three other things that work way better than discipline. The first thing we need are starters, like starting a fire. If you're trying to start a fire, just flicking matches at a log will never make it catch. They'll just bounce off and go out. James Clear in Atomic Habits says, it's easier to optimize a modest start than to begin with a perfect start. Starting is the hard part. So start small and get in the mix. You'll learn a lot and you'll realize you don't need to have it all figured out to begin. The key to a great start at anything, including investing or growing your net worth, is to lower your standards. Seriously, that probably sounds stupid and wrong, but it's true. We aren't talking about dating here. Keep your standards high for your dream man. But when it comes to a new tough habit, take whatever you can get. Set a $5 per month investing goal and set it up to automatically happen. Contribute 1% to your 401k at work, the least you possibly can. Anything. Just get that ball rolling and then you're in it. Successful people are experts at both starting and restarting. By lowering your standards, we're making the first step as easy as humanly possible. Then, if and when you fail, you can jump right back in afterwards, because we will fail. And that's all part of the plan. Start, then start again. One important thing that isn't actually part of starting is buying stuff that you think you need. Like buying running shoes and fitnessy clothes. Like buying a bunch of salad and then letting it go bad in the fridge because you said you were gonna eat healthier. Starting isn't just consumerism in a new shirt. The next thing we need to actually win and be successful is systems. When we rely on discipline, it's like we're having to completely start over again every single day. It's all on you. You don't have any kind of framework or momentum to rely on. It's like pushing a broken down car. It's so difficult to get started, but once you get it rolling, it's actually not too bad. But without systems, when you rely on discipline, if you let that car stop and you have to get started over again, it really sucks. It's like saying, you know what, I'm gonna get my money figured out this year, and then you stop. No plan, no system, no method to follow. Instead, if you can create a structure for yourself, a few steps that prop you up on your progress along the way so it's not totally destroyed whenever you stop or whenever you fail, then it's much easier to carry on. I have to rely on systems. It's the only way that I get stuff done. It's the way I scheduled work for a commercial construction company. It's the way that I manage our investments. It's how I train for ultra marathons. Well, the one that I've done. It's how I make videos for you every day. In her book about grit, Angela Duckworth says this: there are no shortcuts to excellence. Developing real expertise, figuring out really hard problems, it all takes time. Longer than most people imagine. You've got to apply those skills and produce goods or services that are valuable to people. Grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. It's doing what you love but not just falling in love. It's staying in love. I think that all sounds really nice and flowery and sweet, but the reality is whenever we get pushback, whenever we experience resistance, like Steven Pressfield talks about in his books, we need systems to rely on. No matter how much we love something at the beginning of it, we end up having a difficult time maintaining it, and systems help us to do that. I've got a few different videos about personal finance systems if you want to watch those later. The third thing that we need here to win is satisfaction. This one is really easy to talk about, and in the heat of battle, it's seemingly impossible to do. Personally, I've been trying to budget consistently for over a decade, and I have yet to find a way to budget that is actually satisfying. And for me, when it's not satisfying, it kills it, because to continue with a difficult new habit, we need all three. We need starters, systems, and satisfaction. So when I'm missing out on that last one, I stop budgeting. But I've been able to continue to invest because it is satisfying to me. I've found ways to make it satisfying. It's kind of like a game. And the same thing goes for exercising. If we can find things in the world of exercising that are somehow satisfying to us, no matter how odd or specific they are, running, lifting weights, rock climbing, whatever it is, if it's fun for you, then it's way easier to continue. Doing one thing better and better might be more satisfying than staying an amateur at many different things. What that means for us is that we have to stick with something long enough to give it a fair shake. If you're constantly switching up your exercises every single day, you're probably not actually going to ever discover something that works for you. The same thing goes for your money. If you're always using a new service or a new technique or switching to a new job, it's going to be really hard to gain any traction there. In my opinion, to see real, true results, it probably takes us well over a year just to even see where we stand with something. Then if you want to get good at it, the starting point there, in my opinion, is about 5 years. And if you want to become an expert, it typically takes 10 years. I realize if you're 19 years old and you're watching this, 10 years is almost half of your life. And so that sounds like way too much time. But trust me, when it comes to exercise, relationships, your career, whatever it is, there's a big lump of time we have to spend with something to actually get really good at it. And when we're good at it, it becomes satisfying. And when it's satisfying, it's easier and easier to do. And that tough habit that you struggled with years ago transforms into something that you enjoy doing every single day. Whenever we link together the three essential elements of starters, systems, and satisfaction, you will finally accomplish your goals. Stop relying on discipline and gritted teeth and sheer willpower, because it will fail you every single time. And now, a poem. Knowing isn't doing what you need to do, my son. Telling me you know is only bluffing on the run. Knowing isn't doing. Doing isn't knowing. Nothing but the knowing and the doing gets it done. If you want to know more about the foundation, the systems that I use to be financially successful, or as successful as I can be, then watch this video next where I share 10 hacks that have helped us to become millionaires while we're still in our 30s. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.